Hello everyone, just a demo of the PHP practical that was explained in the classroom. To run it, I said you can use a WAM server or a XAMPP server. So I've used WAM server over here. So this is how the WAM server comes up. You can download anything from the Google, the latest version of WAM server as per your system configuration. And just allow this. And to install everything is just yes, you select. Here it is starting up with all the services. You need to be patient enough for the services to be up. Once the services are up, it will show services has started. On to the right hand side, you can see a small window that has come up with W and it says all services are up. So you can just right click, go to localhost. When you go to localhost, it says your virtual host is localhost and you have no projects created. So you need to go to create projects under www. So when you go to C drive, WAMP and www, inside this you can create your own folders for the same. So inside your www you can create a folder of your own choice. So I'm creating now a new folder called as like for example pract 8, and in that I will save my code which is there. Now this is a pattern of doing it inside C drive, whichever drive you have installed it, you will get the WAM64 www and the folder that you create. You can give any name to the folder. Just save your code. When you come over here, it configured Edge as the browser for it to run. Whichever browser you have installed, it will be coming up. If you want that to be selected, you can just say. But now I cannot run my program over here because the virtual host is localhost. But I have my things inside my database. So they are saying what? These are your folders of, so my pract 8, my project has come up over here. But this is not a clickable link. So for what they say is to use them as an HTTP link, you must declare them as virtual host. However, you can just right click WAM setting, warning, allow links on projects. So you just need to go right click WAM settings and you need to say to do this cautious risk only for experts. In that you have to do allow links on project homepage as well. So what it will do is whatever page or whatever folder you have created, that will be your local host now. So when I do this, it will take a second for it to be done, and after that my pract 8, which is right now not a hyperlink, will become a hyperlink for me. So I'll just refresh the page and now you can see my practical 8 has come. So now my localhost path is localhost project. Otherwise this is your virtual host, but to run from here it's a little task because it doesn't get done. So now your original page is a localhost. Now you can go over here and you can execute your practical. So that's the procedure of running the entire practical through your WAM server, and it is very easy. You can run it through XAMPP as well, but XAMPP interface is little complicated and people will actually not able to understand. But those who had done project using PHP are very well comfortable with XAMPP. You can continue with XAMPP, but I am going with WAM because it takes less space and it is easy to be done. One more thing to be kept in mind is if you're using any IIS server or anything on your system, you need to close that server first, because if any other server is running, then your localhost won't work. It will always take you to that page. So go on to your control panel and stop them. So that's what is the basic of how to run a PHP code. Do a right click, you can see an exit, reset, refresh and some option. You go back and do a left click. You can see a local host, PHP my admin and everything. So for our specific practical, we are going to use localhost and MySQL. So first let's go to localhost. So into my WAMP folder, inside that I have a www folder. Over here I have pasted my practicals. So I have to run a particular program, then I have to create a folder of its own, save it in www, and then this folder will be visible. If you try to save the program directly over here, it won't be visible on the browser page of WAM server. So that's why I have to create a folder. So when I go into the folder, whatever programs are inside it, it will be showing me in this format, and my pages will be visible for me to use those things. Now, as per the practical that we have, we are doing a SQL practical along with PHP. So what is basically that we are trying to do is we are trying to run a PHP code where we are trying to fetch. So I have written an HTML page over here where I've created a simple drop down list. And on the click of each drop down list, my initiation is going to my MySQL database which I have created, and from there it is going to fetch me that value. So if I just have to run and show you what exactly I'm talking about, I'm just clicking on SIA, and SIA is having an index ID as 2, and when I do OK, this is the data that is coming from the database which I have created under MySQL. So I move on to another name, it will show me specific value. So for this, I have done the coding in HTML, which is a plain HTML, and I am just calling the data over here. Now for the similar thing, I have my PHP also. So for my PHP data, I can come back here to show you that. So if I go over here and I say open with Notepad, so you can see I have written a simple HTML code with a function as JavaScript inside it. And this is my string function, get element by ID. I have given a compatible version thing that so that whichever IE or Explorer I try to open, it will be working. Then to initiate my server, I have given an onReadyState function where I have the ready state is equal to 4 and status is equal to 200. Then I have alerted the string, I have given the document element and get user. So I am taking HTML code with the help of PHP. So PHP is gonna take this get data and show it to me on the screen. That's why I am opening an extension, opening an instinct where it is get user.php, and my value will be stored over there. So that is about this. So when I go to my PHP file, into my PHP file, I am writing q is equal to get q, because this is the initiation that is happening in my HTML page. There is a queue which I need to fetch, and then I have a server name as localhost, username as my root, and my password is blank. So first thing is I need to create a connection. So I'm creating a connection. So the pattern for writing the connection for the SQL is MySQL I connect. This is the newer version. In the old version, it was MySQL _ connect. In the newer version, it is going with MySQL I connect. So I need the server name, username, and a password. When my connection is not established, it will say connection failed and it will give me a connection error. If my connection is established, well, it will select for the database that I have mentioned, that is my username. And in my database, it will select for the table called as user1, where I'll be passing the query. So my result will be my SQL query, where my connection along with my SQL query that I have passed. And everything, you saw the output which was coming on the browser page was a tabular line, one single line. So I have echoed that value. So we know very well in PHP, whatever we write inside the echo is like a print statement coming onto our browser page. So I have created a table with a border is 1, first name, last name, age and town, hometown. These are the headings that I have given in my table. So my row heading is by this name. Sorry, my column heading is by this name. So I have given those and I'm just pulling those values over here. So for that, I have write a code so that my values can be pulled in. So I've written fetch array. And since everything has to come together, it has to be in an array. So I'm giving the array result. So if you see, result was MySQL query connection select star from user1 where ID is equal to this. So whatever value I select, so I have a drop down list. From that, whatever name I select, it triggers to their ID name, and from their ID name it will fetch the entire value, and it has to come in a row, come in an array format and in a row to display. So I have the first name, last name, age, hometown and job. All my value will be fetched with an echo and it will be posted all over here. And then at the end, my connection has to close. So MySQL I close connection is what is my PHP code all about. So you saw the running, how it happens. And to create a database, I have a line of code that I have written over here. So to create that database, I need to go to WAM server first, do left click, go to MySQL, go to MySQL console. Since my username is root, it will show me that it is root. and enter. Without, I have not given any password, so I just have to enter, and my database, my command line is ready. Now into my command line, I have to write this line set of words. So create database username. I just have to, it might say it's not done because I've already created this database over there. So if I create database username, it says cannot create because database exists. So I just try to give a username 1 and it is created. Now, as I had said in the class, that we need to use the username. So we will be using use username. So it will be use user name 1. Use username 1 as I've given the name. So it says database change. Now I create tables. So the format is the same how we write in Oracle or in SQL. Create table user 1. ID is integer. First name is varchar. Only thing is over here it is not varchar 2. It is just varchar. Wherever you need to use an alphanumeric, you will be giving varchar, and wherever is only integer, it will be integer. So here your rows are affected and it's been created. So your table username is done. So here I'm trying to insert the second record. User 1 value to C0. So it's showing query is okay and one row affected, means that one row has been created. So now I can do select star from user 1. So I can see the table has been created with the name as Sia, which is ID is 2. So same way I can create my remaining IDs as well. So I just copy paste this thing out there, and it's done with my first row, and I do with my third one too. Okay, so my table is ready now. So if I do now select star from user 1, I have these 3 information in my database. Now I'm trying to pull this information onto my HTML page. So I have created a simple drop down list from which I am selecting that. So Ria, it is another localhost ID says 1, and it is pulling out that information from there. Then Sia, and it comes as Sia. I do Samira, and it will be Samira over there. So this is how this practical specifically runs, where you have one HTML page where you have created only a drop down list, and you have written select the person that you want to. Whichever person you select, that person's ID is been matched with the database. So here I've just given it as a series of number. So it just matches it with the ID of the database, and then it fetches the information for that specific, and it comes into the table format. Just to get that into the table format, so just to keep this connected, I have my PHP code which is over here. When I can see this, okay, when in my PHP code I can see I have created my connections, I have established my connections, and I'm just getting it into the table format. The table is fetching the information of these. So if I show you my database, what I have created, you can see the first name, last name, age, hometown, and job is matching with the heading which has been put over here. If this doesn't match, it will not fetch the information. So whatever naming conventions you have used, you have to use the same naming convention under the while loop. And we know in PHP, everything is with the help of a dollar symbol. So I am just writing everything into the row attribute. So this is in the form of an array, that on the selection of one ID, whichever number I select, entire information comes across through it. So this is what is the practical based on connecting PHP with MySQL and getting it onto the HTML. So it's a combo of all where it is coming up on the same. So that's with this practical.